So the two things I want to fix here that I messed up are you actually don't have to import auth from Firebase auth. You just have to import the package itself. And instead of importing DB from the Firebase, I think it's actually Firebase, as you mentioned, Chris, database like that. But we're not even going to do that. We're going to use something called Firestore. And Firestore is their document database that allows you to do all kinds of cool stuff. And so if you do this, we can now initialize both the authorization package and our database package. So we'll say const auth equals firebase.auth, like this. And we'll say const db equals firebase.firestore, like that. And that actually will set us up. We're now ready to go with anything we want to do with Firebase, like get information from it, log users in, all the stuff that we want to do in applications. You actually only need this setup right here. So that's basically the end of our setup, which is kind of nice. Because usually if you want to set up a database, it requires a ton more effort. So this is the first way that Firebase saves us a lot of time. Now, once you've done this in your actual application, we need to go to Firebase and set up Firestore as well. So head over to Firebase, and after you type continue to console, see this thing here that says Cloud Firestore right there? It says the next generation of the real-time database. Click that button. Now it'll load up this thing and it'll say, hey, Cloud Firestore, database with more powerful queries and automatic scaling. Click Create Database. And then start in test mode. Make sure you start in test mode, by the way, because if you don't, you won't be able to access your database and you won't understand why. So make sure you start in test mode and then click Next. Now, anywhere here is fine. It actually doesn't matter, but I'm going to go with US Central for the time being. It's just how quickly do you want to be able to access your data. We're going to use the US Central one. There's also one for the East and one for the West, but I'm going to stick with US Central and click Done. Now it's going to provision a Cloud Firestore, which basically means I'm going to set up your database so that you can have access to it. Anyone has access to it on their own computer. Cool? Now what we've done is we've configured the rules so that anyone who has the link to this project can either read your data or write your data. That is obviously not the most secure way to do it, but for the time being, it's cool because we're just developing this app and no one else really knows about it. What's that? It's the upper line way. You're right. Let's make this as insecure as humanly possible. I'm just kidding. We wouldn't do that. Well, we actually are, but in a real application, you want to set up your security rules, and I can actually give you the rundown on how to do that. But once this is set up, you will see your project right here. Now, it says your database is ready to go. Just add data. So let's go ahead and do that right now as I walk you through kind of how the data system works in Firestore. Firestore is made up of collections, and a collection is, you can think of it like a folder. So if I'm going to create an application here, I need a name of the folder that is going to hold some documents about my application. So a good one to start with is, it gives you an example here. Example, collection users would contain a unique document for each user. So if you want to save information about your users, you would have a users folder. Let's go with students. Let's start with students. We're going to make an app for our students. And so we're going to make a collection of students. Then I click Next, and it'll pull up this screen that allows me to create a single document. A document is like each individual student. So the students folder holds each individual student. Now there's a document ID. Just click Auto ID and it'll fill it in with this random string of words, of numbers and letters and whatever, and that's actually all you need. Now, what's the kind of information you need to have about a student? Age, cool. Now, if you put age in there, you can give it a type. Let's go number. And the first student is going to be a 15-year-old version of me. So I'm going to add another field here called name, and my name is going to be Jeff. I'm going to have a field called graduated, and I'm going to set the type equal to Boolean of false. Any other fields I should add about myself? Let's say points, number, and I'm going to give myself 1,000 points. Yay to me. Now here's all the different types of data you can add about each student. An array, a map, which is like an object, a null value, a timestamp, a geopoint, a reference. So I could say joined at, the year I joined Upperline would be, oh man, we're going way back here. Let's go, doesn't let me go back before 2016? Really? Oh, it does. Okay, cool. 2015 in, I think it was like March. And so if I click that, let's say it was March 2nd, and I give it a time, I'm going to say it was at 4 in the afternoon, which would be what, 16 o'clock? That's when I joined. And I click save, and it should save an instance of this in the database. So click save once you've entered in the information you like, and you should get something that looks like this. We have students, a student's collection, we have a single document, and we have age, graduated, joined at, name, and points. What I want you to do right now is go in and add a bunch more documents for all the students in this course right now. So take a few seconds, go in, add documents for every student in this course with the appropriate information inside it. Cool? Then we'll come back together in a second.